Alright, we are a little late to this, but this is going to be the final update to my Winter 2025 Isekai slash Power Fantasy tier list. And this kind of got delayed because I wanted to make time to finish watching some shows that I dropped, but I did want to pick it back up and finish, mainly Magic Maker. I did want to pick back up Welcome to Japan myself. I heard like decent things about it, but to be honest, this got delayed enough, and I don't know, I don't want to push this back like another 2 weeks. Also, Headhunted Isekai, that one I also want to finish. But yeah, we'll just do things as is. But yeah, this is going to be ranked based on my preferences, my opinion. So if there's something you disagree with, you could leave a comment. Don't take it too personally. Just keep that in mind. Oh yeah, and for most of the shows that I did end up watching, there will be playlists on my channel for reactions if you are interested to see kind of in-depth how I felt about them. So yeah, check those out if you're interested. And yeah, I kind of did forget, the last time in my last update to this, so I did this 1 month after the season started, so I did this like at the end of January, and then another one that was supposed to be 2 months in, and then this is the 3 month in, the final update. At the 2 month one, I kind of forgot what the point of this was. It was supposed to be like only the new seasonals, so shows that like kind of got split off due to production issues or whatever weren't supposed to be included, like these three here at the end, Machi, ReZero, and Arifureta, but I kind of just threw 2 in by accident, so you know, we'll just include everything this time. There's also Shanfro that we'll talk about later. So in case you didn't watch the 2 previous iterations, or kind of just talk about what exactly we're including here, basically any show that could potentially fall under the Power Fantasy umbrella. This includes Isekai, I got banished from my party for whatever reason, and any like RPG fantasy with like, I guess we said RPG, but like game-like elements, right? Kind of like Machi that has like, you know, it's like a dungeon crawler, but also has like game-like stats, right? Because like a lot of the reasons why you would watch them kind of like overlap. And a lot of times people actually just end up confusing the genre. Like a lot of these shows, even if they're not Isekai, they'll kind of get thrown in as Isekai. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here. I guess in the last kind of setup here we can talk about is the actual tiers. So I kind of did want to add like another tier. We'll talk about it in a second. Okay, so S is for like best of the best. If you're into this genre, you should definitely check them out. A is like pretty much like a step down, right? Something you could still like for sure recommend to somebody that likes this genre. And then B, we're kind of reaching like niche territory. If you're like me and you really like inhale that Isekai slop like it's friggin' oxygen, then yeah, this is something that you could check out, or you know, recommend to a friend that if they really did end up going through everything, you know, in the upper tiers, then I guess you could start reaching down into these depths. I'll talk about this new in a second, but this D is for dropped. And then we also have shows that have previous seasons that I didn't finish. I was trying to think of like a shorter way to write this, but I couldn't think of anything, so I just left it like that. Okay, then there's a new tier. So there are going to be a couple of shows that I did finish, which I don't know if I want to say I regret spending time on them. I don't know if I want to be too harsh on them, but I feel like maybe I should have dropped earlier, or I should just dropped it all. Right? That way I would have had time for some of the other shows that I said I wanted to finish instead. Like, I don't know if I want to say bad, because if I did kind of go through the trouble to end up finishing it, then I don't know if I'd want to say that it's bad if I was willing to spend time on it. Because like we could just merge these two, right? Let's just call this C. I don't know, I was gonna do C something else, but I don't know, I can't think of anything. Yeah, like we could merge these two, but I kind of want to reward the shows for actually getting me to finish the episode, so we'll kind of just leave it like this. We'll see what happens. If we do put stuff in some odd tiers, we can always just rearrange stuff, and that includes, you know, if there's only like a few things in these, like, then we'll just end up merging them. Okay, I guess we could start. We'll start with these sequels here that I didn't end up watching. So unfortunately, Ashura still didn't end up making it. I talked about this in the first tier list, and then the second one. Did actually want to watch it, I just couldn't find the time. And to be honest, I actually did hear good things about season 2. And from what I saw on a lot of smaller channels that are covering Ishura, it seems like it might have been worth it. I kind of do regret not being able to push through and just kind of catch up on time. But, you know, there might be a season 3. Is there enough content? If there is a season 3, then we'll try again in the future. Or maybe like in a few months. It's been a while since they had some Ishura content. You know, the time gap has been big enough that we could probably get some engagement there. The next one is My Happy Marriage. I talked about this before, but if you don't know what this is, you might be confused. You might think this is just a pure romance. The gist of it is that this girl here, she her biological mom died, and her new stepmom and her old dad, they're like, I don't know if nobility is the right word, but they're from like kind of a big name family, kind of. They don't want her anymore, so they marry her off to the dude in the poster, who's like some cold military military guy, but turns out he's just misunderstood. So that's like the My Happy Marriage aspect, but there is like a supernatural aspect to it too, where she's actually, I guess it's from her mom. Her mom's like a descendant from like some super OP clan with like special eye powers or something like that. And apparently season 2 actually does go into that supernatural aspect from what I heard. And apparently some people actually didn't like it. They wanted like the marriage part, but yeah, that's actually why I included this. I did make it halfway through season 1. I think it was okay. Maybe it would have been a better binge, but yeah, just couldn't find time to finish it either. Next one's Head Start of Birth. This is one of those like 4-minute TV shows. I don't know, that you kind of just put in between shows, I guess, to fill up time. Not exactly sure, but it does fit the bill. But this is basically like kiddie version of typical isekai, I guess. So not exactly what we're looking for. Last one is Shanfro. Shanfro is my type of thing, but the thing is I read the manga. I was gonna say I'm caught up, but I've kind of held off on the last few chapters because I feel like the current arc, without going into spoilers, has been going on for way too long. So I kind of just wanted to wait and then just binge a bunch of chapters. But no, I really do like Shanfro. I don't know, this is kind of more something that like I would rather watch someone's reaction to because I already read the manga, right? But the problem is, yeah, one, like doing my own reactions kind of take up too much time, and then two, like my favorite reactors aren't covering it, so just didn't end up watching it like that. Next, we can talk about dropped stuff. Headhunter in Another World. Like I said, I did want to finish this on my own time somehow, but this one's, it's not really a power fantasy in the kind of way that, you know, we get isekai and then we kind of just start flex on people with combat power. It's more like appreciation fantasy where dude was like super overworked and underappreciated. He didn't die. Demon Lord from a fantasy world just like scouted him and said, you know what, I actually see your real talent. I want to bring you to this fantasy world and I want to have you be the manager of my demon army. And so he basically brings out the potential in other people. It's kind of interesting at first. Concept sounds funny, but the problem is like, I don't know, just after like 7-8 episodes, it felt like the gimmick wore off and then we kind of just fell off from there. But since I was like so close to the finish line, I kind of just wanted to pick it up, but just couldn't find time. This next would be Welcome to Japan myself. This one also got dropped. It's kind of similar thing where like, it's interesting gimmick, right? Dude kind of gets isekai in his dreams, but then one time, like, and then he comes back to Earth when he wakes up. But like one time he's like holding on to his elf companion in the fantasy world, and then when like right when he's about to wake up, or I guess he dies. When he dies, he also comes back. They both like are about to die to a dragon, so when he transfers back, brings the elf with him. And the interesting part would be to like kind of, at least for me, to see like kind of the nuanced reactions of fantasy elf reacting to like modern society, which it kind of is at the start, right? But it's mostly just kind of felt like more wholesome interactions, slice of life type of stuff. From what I heard after, they do end up going back to the fantasy world at some point, and I don't know, apparently it's pretty decent, so that's kind of also why I wanted to, like, here's the thing, okay, I know, like, you know, we don't need to take MyAnimeList Scores very seriously, but in general, like, for these isekai type of slop, right, like, I don't think I could, like, filter these a specific way, but, like, a high 6 is actually a decent score, because if you think about it, like, if it's a new seasonal, right? Like if it's a season 1, not a season 2, a bunch of people are going to check it out. And when they realize like, oh, this is just a slop type of show, they're just going to like rate it lowly and then drop it, right? So that's why you end up like with a lot of these shows. And you know, to be fair, maybe they're just not good in the first place. That's fine. But you'll end up with like a lot of these shows like scoring low 6, right? Maybe even the 5s, like holy moly. You got Nutmaster here for Magia, like down in the trenches, right? So like a seasoned slop enjoyer, like something to earn like this, a 7.3, that means the show's got to be pretty decent. Like anything over a 7 for these types of shows probably means if you enjoy them, then you'd probably view it like maybe higher, right? And that's also why I kind of like wanted to pick up Magic Maker. We'll talk about this more specifically later, but I don't know, like I saw this, and on top of that, I was always interested in the concept. Made me decide to kind of pick it up, at least for myself. I don't know, I feel like I could have found time for this in the next coming days, but I don't know. I feel like I held this off long enough. It's been a week since the last seasonal ended, right? Middle-Aged Shopper ended on Thursday. It's basically been a full week since then. I don't want to delay it anymore. What else got dropped here? The Haneko, similar thing, right? Like this had a crazy gimmick. Dude dies, reincarnates as a behemoth that looks like a cat. Big T Elf Girl adopts the cat, becomes her pet. Everyone thinks it's like some crazy special type of cat, like an elemental cat, and they keep like mentioning how the cat can like crossbreed, and everyone just like starts becoming down bad for the cat, especially the main girl. She's like straight up says, oh, when you grow up, I want you to pounce on me. And like it's kind of funny at the start, but after a while it's just like, okay, once the gimmick wears off, you're just like, there's no point in really watching anymore. I don't know, like there's like maybe I don't know, by the end there could be some crazy plot, right? But it didn't seem like that. It's not like people were making noise about this and being like, oh, actually you dropped this way too early. If that was the case, then yeah, we would have picked it back up, but no, once the gimmick wears off, it's kind of just a whatever show. And I think the only other one I dropped is for Magia. I don't know, something about this, I can't really pinpoint why this is bad. I mean, like when we looked at this, it's like one of the lowest rated things here, right? Like you look at these, I don't even know what these are, Are these real shows? Honestly, I didn't even hear these. Like we said, this is like a 4-minute show, right? It's an adaptation of a game. Like, I don't know. This is a real show, right? Holy crap, this is the lowest rated thing. That's kind of funny. Out of like all the real shows, I guess, this is like the second lowest rated. But I don't know, it didn't really feel like that when watching it. There just wasn't any reason for me to feel like to continue it. Character designs are by the same guy that did Fairy Tail. And if you read Fairy Tail, it's got some peak designs, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it didn't seem like that was enough to carry it. I don't know. In terms of what makes this a power fantasy, in the world, people are farming monsters, like literally farming them like vegetables, right? To raise them as pets, I guess. And the main character, like he's basically his entire story is he's been unable to successfully farm a monster until now, until the first episode, whatever the timeline is. And yeah, there's basically a typical zero to hero type of thing where he wants to be the best monster tamer, whatever they're called. Formagia, I think they're literally just called Formagia. So yeah, that's why it's here. I don't know, because like I couldn't really figure out what was so bad about it. I kind of want to watch more, but I don't know, time constraints, yeah. I guess I'm pretty sure that's all we dropped, so I think we can get on to like actual stuff now. So let's start with Greatest Alchemist. I think first tier list, 1 month in, I put this here. And then second tier list, I put this here. Because for me, it actually did ramp up. So actually, I kind of want to like do something here where I kind of want to have like a kind of a more robust system here. For sure, I didn't plan ahead far enough. So fortunately, this will kind of be a little scuffed. Maybe we can like do a better version of this for the spring version. Actually, I don't even know if there's enough shows, if it's worth doing this. Probably, well, I don't know, we'll figure something out. But the idea is that on average, a show would have a curve of something like this. I mean, don't take like the numbers too seriously. I guess just more about the curve, right? I guess this would be like episode count, and then this would be like on a score from like 0 to 10. So, I don't know, if average is like 7-ish, then the show would kind of start off and then kind of fall down in the middle, right? And then by the end, it should pick up again. And I mean, you're gonna have like some variations where maybe a show starts out really good, right? And then maybe like it can't live up to the hype, or maybe it starts off worse and then gets like something like this, right? Some type of curve like this where there's like a dip in the middle. And I don't want to go too much into the discussion of this, but I did kind of think up an idea. Maybe this dip is like necessary, you know, in order for the finale to feel better. Like if you had a show that was kind of just like flat like this, would you even be able to tell that the finale was good? I don't know. That's kind of an interesting topic, right? I don't know if anyone has an example of a show that they think fits this straight curve. Right? Like if you had something like this, okay, maybe, I don't know. I don't even know if this is like possible, right? Like, I don't know. Unless you're like super easy to please or you have some like crazy bias, right? Like, I don't know, even the top shows that we're going to get into, like, I don't know, I feel like have some kind of dip. And like I said, maybe it's necessary, maybe it's not. But I think on average, you're kind of looking at something like this, right? And for me, I guess we are currently talking about Greatest Alchemist, right? I think this started something here-ish, maybe? And the thing is, it didn't really fall off. Like if it did, maybe a little bit. But I feel like it went something like this. I don't know. Don't worry too much about like, I'm not saying it's like a 9.5, but like the back half of the show is definitely like way more enjoyable, right? We'll do something like this. All right, so if the first month was like done around here, and then the second tier list was like here, right? I don't know, does this make sense? Maybe it should like curve more upward like this. But yeah, something like that, right? I think since then, the show has gotten better. I don't think it's enough to put it in S, but I think this is worth putting here still. Do I want to explain the plot for like all of these shows? I don't know. I don't want the video to become like too long, but we'll just try and like super summarize the plot. Typical scenario where high schoolers from Japan are getting isekai to be heroes. Main character kind of gets caught up in it somehow. Don't exactly remember the origins behind that, like if he knew them or whatever, but the heroes, like, they're just actually transferred. But like he actually died. So the goddess, like, it was an accident. She just gives him a new body. But there's also some like twist where, like, even though they all got isekai at the same time, she sends him back in time a year compared to when the heroes are supposed to appear. There's some plot with that. The story actually gets pretty interesting once like the in-universe time starts to get closer towards that like time overlap. Like once he makes up the 1 year that he got sent back in. This finale itself was okay. Maybe the graph that we did here, I erased it, but maybe it shouldn't like spike up as hard. But I would be interested in a season 2. I don't even know if the light novels are translated, but I could be lying if I said there wasn't a bit of interest in reading them. I also mention a lot that I have a bias towards bright and colorful anime, which this fits the bill. I think characters are very important, and honestly, the entire cast was pretty fun, right? Like, I think there were some cringe moments with the main character, but he kind of resolved them kind of quickly, so I thought that was fine. But overall, like I said, I really enjoyed this. We'll leave it here for now. Okay, next is I left my A rank party. Okay, so this one's kind of weird because it's still technically going on, but it's too clear, right? We'll just count the episodes up until last week, so not the most recent one. Everything that aired previous to April. I think I started this here, right? first tier list, then we moved it up here. And then here's the thing. The more recent episodes, honestly, haven't been the greatest. Like, I think the middle episodes really, like, carried the show, right? With the whole arc about Jamie and figuring out whether or not she was going to join our party. And then we had that, like, 2-week break, right? Because they had the recap episode. And I don't know if it's fair to say that that killed all the momentum. Because honestly, the episode back, I thought was pretty good. The one where we were kind of traveling and then we kind of first entered the new city. And then I guess technically the cutoff would be the next episode. As in, like, that one would be included. And I think that one and the most recent episode were kind of on the weaker side. I think it's still fine. I'm tempted to leave this here for now because I'm still heavily invested in the show. Fun fact, this kind of, during those like middle periods, this was the best performing show on my channel. But like ever since the break, right, like it kind of fell off and I can see why. Hopefully the show picks back up, not even just for the views, but like, I don't know, just for personal interest too, right? Like, I'll leave this here for now. We'll see. If I feel like this doesn't belong, then we can bump it back down. But I'm still definitely enjoying this. All right, next is solo leveling. I mean, there's any reason to not. Pretty sure this was here, first tier list and second tier list. Here's the thing, okay? Even though we're kind of covering this like power fantasy umbrella, when you kind of look at like, I don't know, subcategories of the show, this is kind of a wide range here, right? Like we didn't watch this, but this does fit the bill and like this could be like viewed as heavily romance. You have some things with a kind of more serious plot, right? Things with a more lighthearted plot. And the thing is, it's like, you can't really like fairly compare things that are kind of different in that regard, right? So the way I'm viewing it is like, what is the show trying to do? Or like, why are we watching it? Which might be the same thing. And solo leveling, at least to me, and a lot of people would agree that it's strictly a power fantasy. And if you look at it just like that, then I think it hangs with the best. Like, yeah, sure, some of the other aspects aren't the best, like the side characters or the romance plot or whatever. But at least for me, like, that's not why I'm watching the show. So I look at what the show is trying to do, or what am I trying to get out of the show, and to me, it is worth putting it in S tier. And I kind of just thought, okay, like if we go back to this graph thing here, you know, some people might say this is a show that's kind of like this, right? But even this, I think this also had a dip, right? Like, once again, let's not worry too much about the numbers, whether it's a 9 or 10, but I think that around, I'm not saying the middle, but like 3/4 of the way, you kind of get something like this. Maybe kind of started out strong too. And I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, Sung Jin-woo was crying or whatever. That part with his mom was shit. No, I just think in general the build up to Jeju Island was kind of the weaker part of the season. And kind of like what we were saying before about what are we trying to get out of the show. Like, yeah, I think most people would agree that, like I said, some of the other aspects of the show aren't written the best. And that includes the emotional part. And you know, you could say that maybe the guy who wrote Solo Leveling was trying his hardest to write an emotional scene. Oh, that'd be kind of funny, but yeah, I don't think Solo Leveling is a flat line either. Let's move on. From Bureaucrat to Villainess? Okay, this started out here. First tier list, first 4 episodes, I think this started here. This is a great production. The premise was funny, right? But then I feel like the later episodes were starting to fall off, and then it dropped here. And here's the thing. I think it continued to fall. I don't know if I want to put it down here though, because if we kind of look at this graph, if we try and make a graph for this, right? Like, let's say it started out pretty good, right? First few episodes, but then in my opinion, it fell off pretty bad. But then like, the finale itself was pretty good, right? Like, we could say that there was something like this, because maybe not even that, right? Like, honestly, it's really just like the last few minutes of the finale where it kind of like goes back to this, right? Because I ended the season like with just so many questions that I actually kind of do want the answer to, right? Like the kind of whole plot going on with his mom and Anna's mom too. This is just assuming you know who the characters are. So in some ways, I would be down for a season 2. And that's kind of one way to look at this, where we kind of look at like kind of micro rankings within the tiers. Say like, what are we looking forward to more, or what would we want more, right? So I think I'm gonna leave this here for now. Once we start filling this up, you know, we'd be down to kind of move stuff around. So we'll kind of just put that there for now. All right, moving on. Nutmaster. Okay, this is kind of one of the reasons why I wanted this this extra tier, right? So, like I said, I have a bias towards fun characters, bright colors, and this is like basically the only reason why I was watching the show. Initially, we had this here, right? And when the season started, I was trying my hardest to defend Light, the main character. Because if you think about it, right, the whole spiel is people get their one skill from eating a fruit and they can't eat more, otherwise they die, right? If you were the only person in the world that could take some like supplement or something that gives like crazy benefits, but like everyone else died if you took like too much, but you're the only person that could kind of prevent those side effects, would you just do it off rip? Most likely not, right? So my point was, if we give him time to kind of ease into it, eventually he should start eating more fruits afterwards. And the thing is, he experienced the backlash firsthand, right? Because he started accidentally eating more fruits. But by the end, he just wasn't, like, I couldn't defend him anymore. He fully should have just been spamming the fruits. Right, like the last 4 episodes, we kind of just switched main characters. Eventually, it was like, we were just following Lena and Dratina, which honestly super hard carried the show by the end, which I thought they were interesting. I thought their dynamic was pretty fun. And whatever the plot going with them, I think that actually fits the good/okay. But the reality is, Light is the main character, and every time we kind of went back to the main city to see what he was doing, he was saying, I need to get stronger, I need to get stronger. But he was just like swinging his sword. And the whole time he should have just been eating the fruits, because it's not like he had anything else to do. And he knew what was going to happen already. But yeah, by the end, I couldn't defend this guy anymore. Do I care if a season 2 comes? I'd probably watch it, but I don't know. This is mainly just because of like my own personal bias to the characters, but we're going to put this here. I still don't know what to call this tier. Like I said, maybe these 2 tiers should be matched, right? Like, if I did find time to watch these, it's possible that these would be ahead of it. But I don't know. I kind of, like I said, I want to kind of reward the fact that I actually got through all 12 episodes. And it was kind of funny too, because I actually really enjoyed episode 1, right? Like, if we had to like graph this, it might just be something like this, to be honest. Or not really, right? Like maybe something like this, because like I said, I think when we switched to Lena as the main character and Dratina, I thought it was like kind of fun. Maybe not like that sharp, right? Like maybe something like this. But I was actually interested in the source, like after episode 1. I wasn't planning on doing reactions at that time, so I don't know. If there was like light novels, I might have ended up reading it. But yeah, let's we'll have this here for now. I may be a guild receptionist, but I will solo any boss to clock out on time. Okay. This is another one of those gimmicky ones. At first I had it here, right? Because the first few episodes actually started off pretty strong. This is not an isekai. It's basically just like set in a typical fantasy dungeon crawling world. But the main character is the receptionist of the Adventurers Guild. And I don't know what's actually going on with the office work, but somehow she keeps end up having to do overtime. And eventually she like unlocks super OP powers that she just says, fuck it, and I'm just gonna go clear the dungeon myself so I don't have to do paperwork. And it's kind of funny at the start, right? That's kind of why I had this up here initially. The problem is the dip here that we kind of talk about in the graphs was kind of big enough for me to bump it down here. And the thing is, maybe like compared to these two, right? Like it's kind of a similar story where I don't think it really ever picked back up, right? Like I talk about this, there's a dip, but then it should pick back up. Whereas in this case, I don't know, right? We had some kind of dip. And I don't know, maybe the ending kind of went up a little bit, but barely. Like I feel like nothing really happened by the end. Like I guess my expectations of the show was like wrong. I was kind of expecting some kind of progression, you know, maybe not necessarily even her like losing overtime. Like it's in the title, right? I expect us to have overtime throughout most of the story, but I don't know, like even just like between the two characters, or between all the characters really, right? Like there's some romantic tension between her and Jade, but it feels like there was literally no progress between that. And I don't know, maybe that's just what the show is supposed to be, so maybe that's my fault for kind of having the wrong expectations, but at least for me, I feel like the finale didn't do a good job of making me want more. So, I mean, if it shows up, maybe I'll check it out, but I feel like this actually did end up dropping, and that's crazy. It went from S to A to B. But, I don't know, it happens, right? Alright. Mastering Magic, the reason why this tier list got delayed a whole week. So initially this was like somewhere here, right? Like, I'm pretty sure this was like the second earliest thing that I dropped. I think I only made it 3 episodes in. And like most people, I don't know, the tone of the show was kind of weird, right? Because the concept of the show is actually pretty interesting. It's about a guy who gets isekai'd into a world where there's supposedly no magic. And through some questionable methods, he's able to discover that you actually can do it, and that questionable method is incest. And most people ended up dropping the show because of that, including me. And you might think, okay, isn't that kind of like hypocritical? Because I just reacted to Shunji family, and I seem to be enjoying that, right? But no, I actually think it's quite different, one. Because one, in the Shunji family, there was like no... Well, I guess there was a romantic interest with one of the people, but for the most part, it's an actual sibling relationship until they find out that they're not. And, well, we haven't seen that yet because the show is still only on episode 1, but that's sort of the point of the show, is to kind of be, like, comedic about it, right? Whereas this, they assumed they were... Well, at least the older sister assumed that they were blood-related, and she was hella down. Like, I know they're kids, and, you know, kids will say some, like, weird-ass shit, but I don't know, it's just the tone of the show that you're supposed to take overall more serious. I don't know, it was just kind of weird, but you know, I'm not here to debate the morality of having like fake incest in anime. This is my tier list, my opinion. I thought it was kind of weird at the start, but like I said, I was genuinely interested in the concept of how are we going to popularize or like make magic a mainstream thing in the world. And to be honest, just like it was incest bait for the people that genuinely wanted real incest, the fucking concept was also bait, because it turns out that there actually is magic in the world. It's forgotten because only a subset of, well, subset's not the right word. I guess we're entering spoiler territory now, but turns out that the main character, yeah, he's not blood related to his sister. He's actually a descendant from some like special type of humans that I guess were able to use magic better. Like, I guess everyone, like, there are multiple people throughout the story that can actually use magic like regular people, so I don't know what exactly is the deal there, but yeah, and then it turns out there's just some like humans versus demons plot, and which, that's not a bad thing, right? Like, you know, we watch all this slop, it's not like most of these shows are unique, it's just some like very minor twist on whatever has been done like 1,000 times. So that's not like a complaint or anything, and to be honest, I actually did find this quite good. Question is, so I'm actually willing to put it here, actually. And you know, like I said, when we talked about these like scores here, obviously you don't need to take Mal too seriously, but I think there is like some merit in whatever's going on here, right? Like if there's like thousands of people giving their opinion, I think, you know, unless you're strictly trying to be a hipster, trying to go off-brand, you'll find that this kind of does align in general, right? And yeah, this actually did end up being quite enjoyable. And so if we kind of like use what I was saying before, or like what do I want a season 2 of more out of these 3 right now, because this is what we're dealing with, I'd say this is a decent order. I think this had a stronger ending, and honestly, this really just like the 5 minutes, like from the last episode of this, like with the play, I don't know, that to be honest wasn't really that interesting, but I guess the whole questions surrounding that with both moms being sus, I thought that was kind of interesting, but I guess overall this might have been better. This had really good production, but to be honest, I'm not the type of person that really cares too much about that. Like, obviously, good production can really boost a show, like this, for example, but I'm more interested in the story, and to be honest, I actually found this to have a pretty decent story. Okay, I guess we're gonna move on to Mastering Magic. Okay, these 2 next shows are pretty similar in some regard, where I don't know if these shows are trying to intentionally be funny, but something about them, just the way stuff are executed, just actually made it hilarious to me. This, I think this was here pretty much both times. Maybe I bumped this up, but I don't know, man. This shows something about the show. Like, I'm actually even willing to put this here, which is crazy because this used to be S, right? Like this, I don't know, this might be a flat show, like maybe something like this. And the thing is, the only reason why this went up is because, I don't know, so a bunch of wacky stuff just started happening that actually made the enjoyment just kind of like spike up, especially towards the end. Like this, the plot, this definitely has like a super cookie cutter plot, right? Dude gets isekai'd and is just super OP, and we're not really doing anything crazy in terms of plot. Like, I don't know if there are, I don't remember if there's like any like super demon army trying to take over the world or something. It's mostly just like city building. But in the process, we're trying to just like master magic, literally, that's what the title is, like create crazy spells. And we're kind of like blessed by some like dragon god, and I guess this is what kicks off all the wacky stuff, is when the dragon god just turns into a lolly out of nowhere. Completely irrelevant to the story, but that's just kind of what happens. And he starts doing weird shit, like he clones himself, turns his clone into a girl. And there's like more backstory with that too, like I don't know who the girl that he turns her into. And that's the thing, like I don't even know if it's like trying to be funny, but like when I just watch this, my mind is blown. I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? And because of that, it was actually pretty enjoyable. Like if we kind of just, if we took out those comedic bits, this would for sure be here. Maybe even, might have even been dropped, but I don't know. This was pretty funny, so we'll put it there. Okay, middle-aged shopper. This is a crazy one. Okay, no, we're not gonna troll that hard. Okay, this is kind of the same thing, right? Where the plot itself, I'd argue is better than Mastering Magic, okay? But you know what's funny? I think this started out here. Oh no, this started out here. First tier list, I put this here. And second tier list, I put this here, and I said that I'm probably not gonna drop anything 8 weeks in. But if I did, it would be middle-aged shopper. And holy shit, was I wrong about that. Because this, I don't know, if the wackiness kind of spiked up for this spiked up like 1,000 times harder. Like, we're not gonna put it in S, but okay, we'll put it in A. Then we can kind of look at the trajectory of this, right? I guess the show's kind of started off funny. So I'd say the difference between this and Mastering Magic is that this was consistently more weird, right? Just from the first few episodes, his interactions with like all the random girls and he just ends up banging them kind of made it exciting. But eventually he kind of like slows down, right? Like it starts off with the tavern girl, Miali again. Then he kind of slows down. Primula comes back at some points, but honestly, like these first episodes where Primula comes back are kind of shit. Like the only thing I remember from there is like when he like just kills the spider, and that was like the biggest waste of time. Like I think they barely did shit with the spider. They basically pulled it out, the freaking spider carcass every now and then to just be like, hey, look, I can do this. But I don't know, it still felt like a waste of time. But towards the end, when like all this weird shit started happening, I don't know, man, it kind of went like this. To be honest, I guess we should widen this, right? Because this is actually the only show that had like 13 episodes. So something like this. I don't know, especially like the last 2 episodes specifically. Like here or I guess it's going like here. Like when the princess sets him up with the maid in their freaking freaky BDSM dungeon shit. Like, I don't know, that was fucking hilarious. And even the last episode too, like we were just like, oh, is he gonna bang the mom? Is he gonna bang the mom? And then there's like that fucking wacky ass scene with the dragon versus the construction equipment. I don't know, that was fucking hilarious to me. So yeah, I mean, I think this show deserves to be bumped back up. The question is, where do I put it here? I actually do want a season 2, right? Because there are some questions here, actually. I feel like I was downplaying the plot before. Like, yeah, we're not looking to do anything crazy because the main character, he just wants like a slow life, supposedly, right? But there's that plot with the other isekai dude that's making mayonnaise. And they keep bringing him up, well, every now and then. And I don't know, that kind of just blew my mind at the end that there was actually something like that cooking the whole time. Seems like there are going to be more shenanigans because the queen did say there's some anti-royal factions and she gave us land, right? So technically we are nobility now. I don't know, man, I kind of want to put this here. I would say I overall enjoyed Greatest Alchemist of all time better, and I think that there's more long-term things to look forward to here. Yo, I'm down to put this here. Like, I'd say these getting season 2s are like whatever, but I low-key actually kind of want a season 2 of this. That's crazy. That's crazy to think that I almost dropped this too. Fuck. This is something for sure you could recommend, and like with the premise of saying, yo, this show's hella fucking wild. Like, do not go into this expecting like crazy storytelling, crazy action. If anything, this had the shittiest production, maybe. If you want to watch a show that makes you say, what the fuck am I watching? This might be here. Because, right, like we said, okay, so what is the show trying to do? Why are we watching this? This actually might be S tier in terms of why we're trying to watch. But the thing is, are you aware of why you're watching it at the start, right? Because like I said, it starts off kind of funny, but the thing is it drops down. So because you have this big friggin' trough here, it's hard to say what like the real objective of the show is. So I don't know, based on what I said, you could probably make an argument to put it here, but I don't know, I think that kind of the middle episodes were so lackluster that it's kind of hard for me to justify that, so I think he is fine. Alright, next is Red Ranger Isekai. Fun fact, this was actually by far the best performing show by the end. Like I said, A-Rank Party started off with better like average, right? But then by the end, Red Ranger just blew it out of the water, and on top of this kind of fell off. So first tier list, we put it here. Right, like I think this had some pretty good opening episodes, right? The whole concept of the Red Ranger getting isekai'd and then like kind of doing all this wild stuff like the transformations, explosions in front of all the fantasy people, especially Idra, was quite funny. Seems like the plot was kind of interesting, and when you have like these transfer isekai, right, which I do prefer over like Reincarnation, there's always kind of that story of like going back to the real world, right? And on top of that, Idra had a story too about like wanting to kind of restore her family's name. So it was kind of interesting. The problem is, since I'm here, since I was watching it for like the isekai aspect, not necessarily the Sentai stuff, which I figure is probably where all the viewership was coming from. When we kind of got to like the middle episodes, like all the stuff with this year, I don't know, it felt kind of boring for me. Like I actually enjoyed like the Sentai flashbacks, right? Like every time they pulled out all those references, like even if I wasn't watching it in the moment, like when people let me know what was happening, it kind of elevates the appreciation you have for the show, right? And I am interested in like whatever's going on back in Earth, because it seems like the people on Earth are going to be like relevant to the story at some point. So it kind of like fell off like around here. Once again, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's like a 4, but I don't know, maybe something more like this, right? Because around here you also had like the first mention of like the dark powers, right? And apparently that's like a common thing in Sentai stuff, but for people like me, I don't know, that was like, whoa, that was like pretty cool. But then I'd say like specifically the last episode was actually pretty good. second last episode. I guess that's when they brought back the dark red concept, right? Especially towards the end of the episode. I think the last 2 episodes were pretty good, but it's something like this. But the way the last episode ended off, with the Rangers back on Earth, noticing that their equipment keeps like getting summoned, so they know that Red is still alive, and then they brought in, like, I don't know if his friend was his replacement, but that was his adoptive brother, right? Were we also just gonna call his best friend? He made an appearance. And honestly, like, I really want to know what happens from there. So, is this worth keeping here though? Like, overall, I did enjoy the show, but I don't know. I feel like maybe this trough here is deeper than we're kind of putting it. I don't know. I said don't get hung up on the numbers here, but when I saw that I put it like down here, I was like, I don't know. Maybe I should be. I'm gonna bump this down here. I don't know. These two are kind of like interchangeable for me. No, we'll say this. We'll have this here. I don't know if I even want to do this, to be honest. I think this was more consistent, even though this had like a better start. I do want season 2 for both of them. Like, I'd even be down to check out the source for both of them, but reactions just take up too much time. Yeah, we'll leave this here for now. I think I'm okay with that. We'll go to Strongest Appraiser. Man, this show. Why did I even watch this? I'm actually gonna put this here. I don't know. Okay, right? Okay. Colors are not the brightest here, but I think the characters were fun. I think the characters and the character designs. Like, I think there was some cringe stuff in the middle of the show, right? When main character was like kind of questioning whether or not he deserves his power and what he should be using it for. But I don't know. I feel like that kind of, like, the fact that they even addressed that, and after talking with his waifus, feels like it got resolved. I don't know. The thing is, towards like the latter episodes, it seems like they tried to go into some plots, but to be honest, when most of the show was just a harem collection simulator, the plot had to either be really good, which it wasn't. I don't know, when they had those, like, that little mini arc when we were trying to save the village from, like, the demon that was possessing the former lord's son. I don't know, that was honestly pretty shit. I don't know, maybe I'm downplaying how decent the first few episodes were, because I think there were some, like, decent action scenes, right? Like I said, I think Yuri, Pina were fun. Even Ursula, once you stopped being annoyed by her. Actually, yeah, I'd say the cast is pretty enjoyable, so that's why I guess I stuck around for it. I was doing reactions for this, but I don't know, the viewership was just so bad. I think most people, like, just like Nutmaster, most people would, like, have this somewhere here. But I guess the character interactions were enough for me to keep it around, but yeah, the viewership was just so bad that I said it's not worth spending time on editing the videos. Does it even matter where these two go? I mean, if you said between these two, would I rather have a season 2? I'd probably pick Nutmaster, just because we'll get more Lina and Jutina. So yeah, we'll keep it in this order. All right, and the last show that is a new show, Zenshu. So Zenshu was initially somewhere here, right? I don't remember where I left it off. Maybe here? But then I was hearing decent things about it, and to be honest, I did check other channels to see how this was doing. And like, most big names already dropped this, right? So I checked smaller channels, and honestly, it looks like they were getting some viewership. So I decided to pick this back up, and then we kind of moved it here, right? In the 2-month tier list, which it was getting some views. I'll probably make another video. Like, it's been roughly 2 months since I started doing reactions, and I did want to kind of do updates on how the channel's going. So yeah, I guess I'll make another video talking about exactly how shows performed. But to be honest, I don't know, by the end, something about the ending kind of just wasn't satisfactory for me. I don't know, maybe I just want like a deeper ending, because it feels like the most surface level show that's just carried by production. Because like the whole thing, the whole thing is she's like isekai'd into like a classic fantasy world, right? Like, I don't know if classic's the right word, but like late 90s, early 2000s type fantasy plot, which really wasn't that interesting in my opinion. Like, the whole shit about the world ending, I don't know, was very like bland. And that's the thing, like, it wasn't just like a background part of the show. The whole point of the show was to like make the plot progress, so that we could probably find a way back home to change the plot, right? And you had the former director of the actual show she got isekai'd into was kind of hovering around her, kept saying, it's too late, you can't change the outcome of the show. But in the end, we kind of just did, through the power of love, I guess. Director didn't end up doing anything. She's just like, happy endings aren't all that is to storytelling, or some shit like that, right? There was that thing at the end where Natsuko ended up, when she got back to the real world, she ended up seeing like Luke and the gang. I don't know if like, I mean, there's some like kind of open interpretation of that. But honestly, I don't know. The ending was okay. I don't know if we go by the tiers. I changed the name of the tiers because I didn't like saying good enough. Because I feel like anytime I use that term in like any other reaction, I feel like an obligation to put that show in this tier now. But yeah, I don't know. It was fine, right? Like, because of like that kind of open ending, some people are saying, oh, they're just leaving room for season 2. I don't know. The way it felt to me, I don't think they should, because you'd essentially have to kind of rewrite another plot, or it's just become some like weird Welcome to Japan Miss Elf scenario where it's just Luke and the gang reacting to modern day Japan, which is like an insane like genre switch, so I don't think that's really worth doing. So I think it's fine just here. Now that I'm looking at this, I'm kind of tempted to move this down here. But the thing is, I guess we could just say that like these 5 shows, I do want a season 2 of. But the thing is like this, I kind of just want to know what happens. Because like I'm kind of worried if we do get a season 2, there'll be a bunch of other boring ass episodes kind of in the middle. Maybe even from the start. I don't know if I want to give the show benefit of the doubt that if they had a season 2, it would be able to perform. Because if season 2 was like, if you told me that a season 2 would kind of perform exactly the same as this, I don't know if I'd want it. This is, like I said, it's just because they just threw a bunch of questions at us, like in the season finale, that like the recency bias takes over and I want to know what happens. But I don't know. Okay, we'll just leave it there for now. I mean, it's not like there's much more to do. Okay, and then the 3 shows that were kind of split off, right? Like, I guess ReZero, technically, they kind of planned for this. Or maybe not, right? Like, the original plan for Season 3 was apparently, like, really different. Like, whatever Season 4 is was also supposed to be part of Season 3, but I don't know. Okay. I guess we'll start with Machi since it's the first one here. Question is, how do we count? What do we count as Machi here, Season 5? The whole Season 5, or just, like, the 3-4-ish episodes that we got when it came back? You know what? I don't think it matters, because for me, I'd still put it here regardless. Actually, here. I'll still put it here. You know, in case someone's like skipping ahead, this, we're only counting the first cour. Technically, you might say the first cour is still happening, but I guess anything that's cut off before April started. For me, Machi, Season 5 overall has been the best season, at least for me. You know, I never really paid attention to like kind of Machi related stuff outside of the anime, so kind of the Freya Seer reveal was kind of big for me. Also thought the war game was pretty epic. We got to see a lot of epic moments with a bunch of different characters. I thought it was really fun. And now I'm actually interested in like stuff outside of the anime. But apparently like the anime pretty much caught up to the light novels now, so there's not much new content. We might not get Season 6 for a long time unless we go the Game of Thrones route. But yeah, no, I enjoy this. Not much to say because like I really... This kind of ended already before the previous tier list, right? So there isn't any reason to kind of update my stance on this. So next is Arifureta. This wasn't included because, like I said, this was supposed to be like new seasonals, but since we accidentally threw Machi and ReZero in, let's just fuck it. Okay. I did a tier list similar genre, or basically the same genre, this whole Power Fantasy umbrella, for all of 2024. And I think I had this up here, somewhere like low S. And I was kind of thinking, do I regret doing that? Here's the thing. Arifureta is my personal niche. I'm a big sucker for types of shows where main character, or maybe not even necessarily the main character, but just any plot that involves a character going missing, bonus points, extra bonus points for if people think they're dead, and then they kind of just do some like crazy training. I mean, they don't even have to do training. In this case, I don't think Nagumo really did any training, just fucking like drank that elixir shit, right? Or basically just become like super OP, and then come back, and then we get to see everyone's reaction to that. And Arifureta does basically most of Arifureta, right? Like obviously he had the class reunion like at the end of Season 1, but even now, like Season 2 and Season 3, then we have people actually traveling with him, and they still gotta see him in action, right? So the thing is, the story is like super hard carrying Arifureta in terms of like the rankings for me, right? Because like I said, that's specifically my type of story. Season 2 had way better pacing, right? Because I think Season 1 covered light novels 1 to 4. Season 2 covered 5 and 6, only 2, right? And then this covered 7 to 10, I believe. I already read all the light novels, or I already read the web novels, so that's kind of why I wasn't covering this on my channel. But since it's been long enough, and like I said, this is my type of story, I actually did end up watching the anime anyways. I think the production was fine. Obviously not like the disaster of season 1, but I'm trying to remember if season 2 actually had better production or not. I just remember watching the Shizuku scene here and kind of wishing there was more to it. But the thing is, if I'm going to put this here, then, I mean, I just personally enjoy this more than A-Rank Party, so I think it makes sense for me to put this here. I don't know, we're going to do this. It's my tier list anyways, based on my opinion, so, you know, if you have a problem with it, leave it down in the comments. And the last one here is ReZero. Now, this is where things, I guess we have to consider, what are we actually considering here? Because if we kind of look at just... If we kind of just look at just the 8 episodes that we got from February onwards, then this will be the thing that I enjoyed the most. But if we consider all of season 3, like including the 8 episodes before, I might actually want to do this. Like, I still really enjoyed the first 8 episodes, but I don't know, they didn't really hit as hard, right? Because like it's mostly just setup for whatever happens here. But you know what? Since this is supposed to be winter 2025, we'll do this. Because like this was 8 episodes, right? Like, I think that's enough episodes to say that it can be its own thing. And like I said, I think even if we just count just the 3-4 episodes for these, I think it's fine to just leave them more there. So in these 2 cases, I don't think it actually matters. But here, if we count all of season 3, I think this. But we'll just count only the 8 episodes that were released this year. We'll do this. And let's look at the whole thing. So we have to zoom out a bit. Yeah, I think this is fine. I don't think I need to move anything else. There's actually a lot of shows. I do want to do one for this season too, but I don't know, is it even half the amount? That's kind of why, like, before the season started, I was like, is this a weak season or not? But I don't know, overall, I think these were pretty enjoyable. Like, I don't know, I'll try to finish these 2 at some point. I don't think I'd, like, ever do a revised version of this, but we'll probably do one for the entirety of 2025, right? So then, actually, yeah, maybe. I don't know, maybe I'll try some ambitious thing where I try to actually finish everything. I don't know, I guess this has multiple seasons. Actually, Shanfro's like almost 50 episodes, right? Shit. I mean, I did watch season 1, so, or like most of season 1. I don't remember what point season 1 ended, but I picked up the manga around halfway at least. So I actually don't remember where I left off there. But yeah, like I mentioned, for most of these shows that we watched, I think the only ones that we don't have reactions for is Arifureta, Machi, because like at the time I just didn't think it was worth doing like 3-4 episodes. Strongest Appraiser and Solo Leveling kind of got cut just due to low views that I just didn't think it was worth, and Magic Maker, because we just watched that like recently. Other than that, yeah, there's reactions to all these years. They kind of do start late, like I said. We started in the middle of February, so some of these started episode 8, but if you're interested in my live reaction and opinion, you can check out those. There's a playlist for that. But yeah, this video is pretty long. I always want these like non-reaction videos to like just take up like 20-30 minutes, but they always end up going longer. This recording's an hour. I guess I'll try and trim it down. My phone's also running out of battery. That's what I'm using as my webcam. So we'll end it here. I am interested to know what you guys think, what my audience thinks of these shows, if you guys have any agreements, disagreements. Also, I hope I did include everything this time. If I didn't, you can let me know down too, and I'll just like reply to the comment, say where I think it belongs. Maybe I didn't even watch it. But yeah, I will do another type of analytical video that will kind of talk about how the series performed, or the reactions performed on the channel, what it's like kind of running a channel, doing a seasonal reaction channel, rather than kind of just doing big names. So hopefully people will find that interesting. And yeah, maybe I'll do more of these for this season, even if there are less shows, or I don't know, maybe we'll just combine genres or something. But yeah, that'll be it. If you made it this far, thanks for watching, and yeah, catch you next time.